A lot has changed in the union movement. The UAW at its peak had about 1.5 million members. Today it has roughly 400,000 members, and most of them are not auto workers. I would speculate and say the auto part of the UAW is perhaps 150,000, and that might be pushing it a little bit on. The change has been dramatic. I mean, we have supported on one level or another the union while having to fight certain things about it all of our lives. But the union has never been a bowl of cherries. You know, it's never been a bowl of cherries like that. Especially from the 50s on. You're talking about unions that were essentially labor lieutenants of the capitalist class. I have to call them that. You know, because within the union we have always had to fight for basic things, man, and for the guys on the shop floor, the average person, to really have a voice and say in how the union is run and on whose behalf the union would represent. Now today, my work is primarily with the retired workers section of the union, specifically around health care. You know, we have retired workers for a single paid health care system, and we are supporting HR Bill 676. You know, Kanye's sponsored bill, Medicare for all. You know, but that's my primary work within the union. But the union could do more. They always have reasons why they are sitting on their ass. You know, and part of it is because the structure within the union have gotten fat and lazy. But the union should spend all of its money and energies into fighting on behalf of not just its members, but all working people. That way people will stop hating us, saying that we only concerned about ourselves and greedy, you know. And that's the union's fault, because it didn't have to be like that. But the union has been too narrow-minded.
Over the years, the union has become closer and closer tied to the corporations, as if the interests of the workers and the interests of the corporations were identical, and they're not. The union doesn't bargain today for its members the way it did at one time. It's consistent. Most contracts are filled with concessions to the company. I guess to keep plants and jobs from relocating and just try to keep plants open. And it's a whole different game. Like Waistline was saying, we're at a point now where unions and union leaders have to take a different stand, a different approach to the problems of society. They have to represent not only the working members of the working class, of the entire working class, but also the unemployed members of the working class. Only by fighting for all the workers, well, any of the working class, be able to unite and make any kind of true gains, you know, in society. You know, the divisions that separated us, if we're to move any further, have to be, you know, eliminated. You know.
Another vision is needed, really. The UAW was formed as part of the industrial union movement, you know, because initially craft unions dominated. Craft unions, meaning craft or skill, was the basic form of union organizations during the first part of the last century. When Henry Ford came in with the assembly line production, 1914, 15, 16, it expanded what we identify today as the industrial form of work, and consequently it created condition for an industrial form of union. We have a revolution going on that's been underway now a good 30 years. For lack of better words, call it the electronics revolution. But it's a revolution that's taking place based on computers, semiconductors, and all these kind of new products that's been created, new ways of working. Just like the Industrial Revolution created an industrial working class, the electronics revolution is creating an electronic working class. Not all at one time, but stage by stage. My point is that a union that conforms to the electronic revolution is needed in the same way that a union that conformed to the Industrial Revolution was needed. See, the Industrial Revolution and industrial unionism, it grouped workers together based on an industry, a trade as opposed to a skill. Electronics group people together differently. So we're probably talking about a union that's not even limited to an employer, right? Now, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to look and what it should be, but what's clear is that the revolution that's taking place now is equivalent to the discovery of fire and its impact on society. Because we're talking about a whole section of the population being pushed out of production, while at the same time we have the means to provide all the socially necessary things that people need in life. So for me, the basic question is, do you feed people, clothe, house them, educate them, or do you go over to the side of evil and talk about how we're going to pay for it? See, it's a clear question to me. Either we feed, clothe, and house the people, or you have to kill them. And that's what the evil people, capitalists, that's what they try to avoid. And that's just how I look at it now. People have a right to live. No one has a right to make money and have all the wealth of society. No one has that right. We deal with American history in general, but we deal with it from a specific point of view. The point of view we call the science of society. What the science of society basically says is that society is a system that is constituted based on the economy, that the economy is production and distribution, or what we call productive forces and production relations. It is how the productive forces develop with production relations, their conflict, that determines the flow of society. We say, one, when something fundamental to a system, the economy, changes, everything dependent on that which is fundamental must in turn change. Not all at one time, but it must change. For instance, the steam engine. It changed society because its bookmark is the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. It wasn't just a steam engine by itself, but it was a steam engine and all the related technologies that grew up based on the steam engine. It changed society. Before the steam engine, the plow had changed society. Why? Because it was more productive than the bow and arrow. See, people put down the bow and arrow and picked up the plow because it was a more efficient instrument of production. People put down the plow and picked up the steam engine, the steam hammer, and finally the tractor because it was more productive than the plow. Today, the electronic revolution, and its related technologies is more productive. And it's compelling us to advance to a new society, and the fight that's taking place is on behalf of whom will this new technology be used? Either we control the corporations or the corporations control us. We need revolutionaries, a combination of socialists, communists, radicals to come to power and strip the corporations of all their rights. Corporations will be banned. It will be illegal for them to impact or say anything about the political process because they're a corporation. They're not a human being. They should have no rights. Either we control the corporations or the corporations control us. That's what the Thursday class talk about. We talk about the laws of society specifically as articulated by Karl Marx. His genius, in my opinion, was he figured out the science of society, a handful of basic laws. He says at a certain stage in the development of the means of production, they come into conflict with the old society. Then a period of social revolution occurs. Before then, the point of view was that history is one damn thing after another and that shit happens, right? Or the will of God. Marx said no matter whose will it is, we need to look at production and distribution and the economic foundation. And whichever direction it's developing in, that's the direction we have to look. We deal with stuff like that on Thursday. And we talk about stuff on television. We talk about things in the news, interesting comments, what people do on their jobs. But it's a good Thursday class. You know, all of y'all out there who gonna see this, if you in Detroit, look us up, come to class, man, and we got books and literature for you.
And we'll come and try to find you, if possible. We can work something out. But we want to get this message out.
No, because you need to tell them like that, because this from the guys in Detroit. You see what I'm saying? Waistline 2, the number 2, at AOL.com. You know, keep some of the emails short and stuff, that way I can go through all of them. And I will reply honestly. And if you're coming to Detroit, email me, man, get some of these classes.
Or again, we'll try to set up something with you, whatever it takes. We'll try to get it done.
Now, I can't say exactly when, but it's going to happen in the near future. We will be Skyping. So people around the world and on other planets where there's intelligent life will be able to be part of these classes.
Participate.
Yeah.